All right, let's just jump right in. We all kind of have this picture of human history in our heads, right? It's this straight line, always going up. We're always getting smarter, better, more advanced. But what if that whole picture is, well, wrong? In this explainer, we're going to dig into some ancient artifacts that just don't make sense, things that seriously challenge the story we tell ourselves about our own past.
And that's the core belief, right? It's just common sense. I mean, we're sending rovers to Mars. You're probably holding a supercomputer in your hand right now. It feels so obvious that we are standing at the absolute pinnacle of what humans can do. But are we? Is it really that simple? What if the evidence we have points to something totally different? What if history isn't a simple climb up a mountain? What if it's more like a series of huge peaks and deep, forgotten valleys where incredible knowledge was just lost?
So, where do we start? Well, our first stop is a discovery that just blew everything we thought we knew about the ancient world right out of the water. This is the story of how one single object, found completely by accident, just cracked our neat little timeline wide open.
So, think about it. Before 1901, everybody just assumed ancient tech was, simple, basic. That was just the way it was. But then, some Greek sponge divers are checking out an ancient shipwreck, and they pull up this corroded green lump of bronze. And what was hiding inside that thing? It didn't just challenge the history books, it tore them up and rewrote them from scratch.
This thing is the Antikythera mechanism. And honestly, its complexity is just jaw-dropping. We are talking about at least 37 perfectly interlocking bronze gears, built with a precision that humanity just wouldn't see again for more than 1,000 years. It could predict eclipses, it tracked the planets, it even calculated the timing of the Olympic Games. This wasn't some simple tool. This was, no joke, a 2,000-year-old analog computer.
Okay, so you're probably thinking, all right, that's one really weird artifact. A fluke, maybe. Surely our modern science can explain everything else. And you know what? That's where this gets really fascinating. Because sometimes, when we aim our absolute best, most advanced technology at these ancient mysteries, we don't get answers. Nope, we just get way, way bigger questions.
So, check this out. Scientists wanted to look inside the Great Pyramid of Giza, but obviously you can't just go drilling holes in it. So they used this incredible tech called muon radiography. The easiest way to think about it is like a giant cosmic ray X-ray. It literally uses particles raining down from space to see through hundreds of feet of solid rock. I mean, this is the absolute cutting edge of how we see inside things.
And this is what they found. For centuries, we were pretty sure we had the pyramid all figured out, We had the maps. But this cosmic ray scan revealed something impossible. A massive, completely unknown void. A secret chamber the length of a commercial airliner that's been sealed off for 4,500 years. Our best technology didn't answer a question here. It just uncovered a much, much bigger mystery. What is it? What's in there? We have absolutely no idea.
And this gap in our understanding, it's not just about big stone buildings, it's also about information, about language itself. Which brings me to this, the Voynich manuscript. It's a book from the 1400s, and it is hands down one of the biggest, most baffling code-breaking puzzles in all of human history.
I mean, just look at these details. The best code breakers from World War II, the guys who cracked Nazi codes, they tried, and they failed. Fast forward to today, our most powerful, sophisticated AI, we've thrown it at this thing, and it can't translate a single word, not one. And the pictures, they just make it weirder. You've got drawings of plants nobody has ever seen on Earth. You've got star charts mapping out constellations that people in medieval Europe shouldn't have known about. It's a total enigma.
So this takes us to a place where our modern forensic science just hits a brick wall, the Shroud of Turin. The evidence is completely contradictory. On one side, you've got the forgery argument. Carbon dating from 1988 says the cloth is from the Middle Ages. Makes sense. But then you have the anomaly side. Critics say that carbon sample could have been contaminated. And more than that, the image itself is what's so weird. It shows crucifixion wounds with stunning anatomical precision. Some physicists have even suggested that to create an image like that, so superficial, like a photographic negative, you'd need a massive burst of radiation. That's a technology a medieval forger just wouldn't have. Our science gives us two totally opposite, totally impossible answers.
All right, let's shift gears a bit. We've talked about mysteries of technology and code. Now let's talk about pure, brute force physical achievements. We're talking about ancient structures so huge, so logistically mind-boggling, that they completely defy what we think pre-industrial people could do.
Okay, so everybody recognizes these, right? The iconic heads of Easter Island. For hundreds of years, this is how the world saw them. These giant, mysterious faces buried up to their necks, just staring out from the landscape. But recent digs revealed an absolutely incredible secret. They aren't just heads. They have massive, enormous torsos buried deep in the earth. This discovery completely changed the game, making them way bigger, way heavier, and making the mystery of how they got there even deeper. And this is the paradox, the part that's so hard to wrap your head around. On one hand, you have this isolated, pre-industrial culture with basically just stone tools and rope, and they somehow carved, moved, and stood up hundreds of these things. We're talking 80 tons each. But on the other hand, you have modern engineering teams with all our computers and physics knowledge, and they literally struggle and often fail to move replicas even a few feet using the same methods we think the ancients used. The real question isn't just what they built, it's how in the world did they do it?
And here's another kind of puzzle, this one about perspective. The famous Nazca lines in Peru. They're these huge drawings scraped into the desert floor. But look at this comparison. If you're standing on the ground, they just look like a random jumble of paths. They make no sense. The only way to see what they actually are, these incredible giant pictures of a spider, a monkey, a hummingbird, is from high up in the sky. And that begs a really weird question. Who were these made for? Who was the audience 2,000 years before anyone had an airplane?
So, what does all of this mean? A 2,000-year-old computer, a giant empty space inside the Great Pyramid, a code we can't break, feats of engineering we can't replicate. Look, these aren't just quirky stories for trivia night. They're clues. They're all pointing to something.
And here's the key takeaway. We can use our fancy tech to measure that void in the pyramid down to the centimeter. We can carbon date a piece of cloth, but that's not the same thing as understanding. Knowing what something is doesn't mean you know how it was made, or, more importantly, why. We have the data, but we don't have the comprehension.
And that idea, it changes the whole picture. These anomalies, they suggest that human history isn't this simple, steady climb. Instead, they point to something far more dramatic, the existence of entire chapters of advanced technical and logistical knowledge that bloomed, that flourished, and then, for reasons we can only guess at, were completely wiped away, erased.
And so all of this leaves us with one last kind of haunting question. If people could build a mechanical computer 2,000 years ago, and that knowledge could vanish so completely from history that we thought it was impossible, it really makes you wonder, what else have we forgotten? What other amazing things are buried out there in our own past?